So welcome to everyone from the IUCN. And today, as a part of our webinar series, which we are organizing, the theme for today's webinar is Role of Culture and Natural Heritage in Tourism-Based Economy. IUCN is organizing a 6-episode webinar series on a broader thematic area, why tour conservation will be fundamental to tourist-based livelihoods post-COVID-19. As we are all witnessing that suddenly, because of COVID, everything has come to a standstill, and we are at crossroads. Entire business value chains, they have been disrupted, and somewhere this disruption or sudden break is linked to disruption in the ecosystems or our disconnect with the nature. And tourism as a sector generates a number of livelihoods, and tourism sector generates more than 4 crore livelihoods in India. And with this thing, COVID, everything has come to a standstill, and now we have to think that in post-COVID scenario, what should be the new normal, how we have to ensure that tourism be sustainable and integrate various type of initiatives for the tourism activities. Today we have very good and eminent panelists, but before I introduce panelists, let me briefly introduce about the IUCN. IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. It was created in 1948. It has evolved into the world's largest and most diverse environmental network. It harnesses experience, resources, and reach of its 1,300 member organizations and input of more than 1,500 experts. IUCN is a membership union, uniquely composed of government and civil society organizations. The existing strength and network of IUCN India comprises of about more than 38 expert institutional members, including Government of India, civil society organizations, and more than 800 IUCN Commission members. IUCN is the global authority on the status of the natural world and measures needed to safeguard it. Its mission and vision is to influence, encourage, and assist society. It has also been accorded the observer status with the United Nations General Assembly, and IUCN has played a very vital role in shaping the global conservation agenda, maybe the World Conservation Strategy, maybe the coming up of the 3 Rio Conventions related to the climate change, biodiversity, and desertification, and also Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species and Convention on Migratory Species. And let me also brief you about the role which IUCN has played in shaping the World Heritage Convention agenda also in partnership with the UNESCO. As Secretary General of UN World Tourism Organization has stated, the world is facing an unprecedented health and economic crisis. Tourism has been hit hard, with millions of jobs at risk in one of the most labor-intensive sectors of the economy. Several of these sites pull the tourists due to their rich cultural heritage, natural heritage, and most often both intervene together. IUCN was instrumental in founding the 1972 World Heritage Convention. It was at 1966 IUCN General Assembly. Now it is known as the IUCN World Conservation Congress. The idea of a World Heritage Trust was first expressed on the international stage. IUCN went on to draft the convention together with the UNESCO and has since been explicitly recognized as a technical advisory body on the nature to the World Heritage Committee. The IUCN World Heritage Program implements initiatives to enhance the role of the World Heritage Convention in protecting the planet's biodiversity and to promote effective use of its mechanism to strengthen the conservation and management of natural World Heritage sites, which goes a long way in supporting tourism benefits accruing to local communities, government, and the private sector. Our role under the convention is threefold. IUCN evaluates all natural and mixed sites nominated for World Heritage status and contributes to evaluation of certain cultural landscapes. IUCN monitors the state of conservation of existing World Heritage sites. IUCN contributes to the capacity building, training, and related initiatives, particularly at regional and field level. To fulfill its role as advisory body, IUCN works closely with the UNESCO World Heritage Center, the IUCN World Heritage Program is in collaboration with the IUCN network of experts that include World Commission on Protected Areas, Species Survival Commission, and other commissions and regional offices. As part of the promise of Sydney, where World Park Congress was held in 2014, the flagship outcome of the Sydney Congress, 6 recommendations were proposed to guide the World Heritage Convention on enhanced role over the next decade. That includes conservation models, best of the best, credibility, sustainable development, and indigenous people rights. Nature and culture interconnectedness. Living in harmony with nature has been an integral part of Indian culture. Historically, the protection of nature and wildlife was an ardent article of faith, reflected in the daily lives of the people, enshrined in myths, folklore, religion, arts, and culture. In Isha Upanishad over 2000 years ago, it has been stated that this universe is the creation of supreme power meant for the benefit of all his creation. Each individual life form must therefore learn to enjoy its benefits by forming a part of the system in close relation with other species. Let not any one species encroach upon the other's rights. Sustainable tourism entails that we ought to be guided by the quality of life's offering and taking from our environment what is needed while responsibly leaving behind that which would sustain the destination and future travelers. World Heritage Sites, rich in culture and nature's bounty, offer a unique experiential learning opportunity for the visitors. And this webinar brings together the luminaries from the culture and nature's world to discuss and deliberate on the challenges and opportunities for sustainable tourism, responsible tourism to these unique heritage sites in a changing world post-COVID-19 pandemic. With these words, let me briefly introduce about the today's agenda. After this brief introduction, we will be joined by Secretary, Ministry of Culture. He will be Mr. Anand Kumar. He will be speaking about the importance of culture heritage sites, Government of India initiatives and support for promotion of culture and natural heritage, the policy perspective. We also have Dr. Dhananjai Mohan. He is Indian Forest Service Officer and presently Director of the Wildlife Institute of India. That also hosts the UNESCO Category 2 Center on the Natural Heritage Sites. And he will be speaking about the importance of Natural Heritage Sites Initiative of Wildlife Institute of India. Then we have Mr. Manu Bhatnagar. He is the Principal Director of INTACH. He will be talking about the initiatives of INTACH for conservation and promotion of culture and natural heritage. Then we have Ms. Arushi Nishank. She is the founder of Sparsh Ganga, and she will be sharing experience on the initiatives of preservation of rich cultural and natural heritage of Ganga, Namami Ganga campaign. Then, talking further for the best practices on the ground, people with the experience, we will be joined by the Swami Shri Gyananandji Maharaj. He is a pedagogue, philosopher, writer, yogi, and social worker. And he will be sharing his experience, initiatives, and promotion of rich culture. To Maharaj and Jeet. And Mr. Madan, he is the honorary secretary of the Kurukshetra Development Board. He has taken a number of initiatives in Kurukshetra, including a promotion of the tourism, promotion of the rich cultural heritage. And we have Mr. Shri, he will be talking about the opportunities for rural tourism, for promotion and preservation of rich cultural and natural heritage. And we will also be joined by Dr. Sonali Ghosh, Deputy Inspector General from Central Zoo Authority. She will be talking about the post-pandemic scenario for natural heritage-based tourism in South Asia. And when we talk of various tourism activities and new normal, there comes a need for the certification, and we will be joined by Mr. Avni Verma, very senior retired Indian Forest Service Officer, former Principal Chief Conservator of Forest from Karnataka. He will be talking about the need for the certification standards for promoting a sustaining heritage-based tourism. And taking it further, let me briefly introduce about the brief profile of our today's panelist. I hope we are waiting still for Mr. Anand Kumar, Secretary, Ministry of Culture. Achal, can you check whether he's about to join?
Sure, sir.
Mr. Anand, Mr.
Sir, I
Anand
got a
Kumar
call.
and Arushi.
Yeah, from his office. He's with some ministers meeting in other building.
Yeah. I talked to him. He told he will join soon. So let me briefly brief about the panelists who are presently on the screen. So just one. Sir. Please unmute Anand Kumar, sir. He's already there, and also bring him on screen. Vishnu? Achal?
Yes, sir.
हाँ आनंद कुमार सर को स्क्रीन पे ले आओ उनको यहाँ से अनम्यूट करो वो ट्राई कर रहे हैं.
Yes, sir. He is already unmuted from our end.
हाँ उनका वीडियो भी तो ऑन कर दो.
सर वेबकैम का भी रिक्वेस्ट तो कर दिया है स्क्रीन पे. सेंड वेबकैम रिक्वेस्ट.
हाँ सर कैमरा आप ऑन कर लीजिए. वेबकैम का तो रिक्वेस्ट भेजा यहाँ से. नहीं आपका नहीं ऑन है सर. हाँ वी आर नॉट एबल टू सी यू सर. विष्णु सर को गाइड कर दो.
Okay, sir. I'll just call the office.
Meanwhile, Anand Kumar sir joins. So let me briefly introduce about Dr. Dhananjai Mohan. He is presently Director of Wildlife of Institute of India. He is an Indian Forest Service officer. He has been involved in wildlife management, training, and research for more than 2 decades. As an Indian Forest Service officer, he has managed protected areas in Uttarakhand, Himalayas, and Uttar Pradesh Tarai. He has also written management plans for many protected areas of present-day Uttarakhand state. Throughout his professional career, he has been pursuing his interest in birds and have been writing about the distribution patterns. And now let me introduce about Mr. Anand Kumar. Sir, am I audible? Meanwhile, Anand sir. विष्णु उनका अनम्यूट नहीं हुआ है. We have Mr. Manu Bhatnagar. Mr. Manu Bhatnagar is an urban and environmental planner with over 2 decades of experience in the water sector. He currently heads the Natural Heritage Division at INTACH. He has a master's degree in urban and regional planning from Cornell University, besides qualification in strategic environment assessment, ecology, and habitat management. Environmental law, conservation of lakes. Currently, he is working in the Upper Ganga region, Sambar Salt Lake in Rajasthan, landscape mapping in Western Rajasthan, sustainable agriculture in Central India, aquifer management in NCT Delhi, and City Biodiversity Index or NCT Delhi. I think there is Vishnu sir का check हुआ, Anand sir का. I think I will introduce about the profile once he joins, and meanwhile I think we can initiate today's discussion. So first of all, now before Anand sir joins to share the Government of India policy perspective and initiative, Let me request Dr. Dhananjai Mohan, Director, Wildlife Institute, India, to share his thoughts about the importance of natural heritage sites. And as UNESCO Category 2 Center, they are being hosted at Wildlife Institute of India, what have been the initiatives of the Wildlife Institute of India? Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Saxena. Thank you for inviting me to this webinar, and really a pleasure and honor to be in the company of such experts on this sector. Wildlife Institute of India has been involved in wildlife conservation initiatives for nearly last 4 decades, and we've been helping forest departments in many ways, in wildlife management, conservation, and of course we carry out basic research, and we also run educational programs, MSc programs, and of course in-service training for forest officers, a lot of advisory and policy role as well to support primarily the Ministry of Environment and Forests and Climate Change, and of course the governments. So few years back, we set up this Category 2 Center in Wildlife Institute of India under the auspices of UNESCO. This was a very interesting initiative because till that time we did not have anything of this kind in the country, and particularly targeting at the natural World Heritage sites. So we are all aware of the World Heritage sites and the convention which was signed in the early 70s. Which of course identifies areas of outstanding universal value, both cultural, natural, and in many cases they occur mixed. So I mean, of course, the cultural heritage, which are far more known and popular, they far outnumber the natural heritage sites. As per the stats in front of me, 869 cultural heritage sites against 213 natural heritage sites. And of course, there are 39 which are mixed, which have both cultural and natural values. Of the natural World Heritage sites, which number 250 odd, it's primarily protected areas, wildlife reserves. And this I'm talking of a global picture. Gradually, I'll come to the national scenario. And definitely, they're the home to most exceptional wildlife on Earth, with many of which are highly endangered. They also include best conserved forests, which are also vital for sustaining life on the planet as a source of livelihood, medicine, fuel, fodder, and shelter. About half of them are recognized as forest sites under the World Heritage Forest Program as well. So this Wildlife Institute of India Category 2 Center, this was set up after MOU was signed between our ministry and the UNESCO, and we cater to the Asia and Pacific region, covering 44 countries. We have some 67 natural World Heritage properties here, 12 mixed properties, which have both cultural and natural values. So our mandate is primarily to train everybody involved in the management of these sites, these important sites, and also help and support nations in the inscription process of the World Heritage, I mean, inscription of sites as World Heritage sites. Of course, now today we are talking of tourism and linkages of tourism and World Heritage sites, natural World Heritage sites. Well, natural World Heritage sites are only a small subset of the natural sites, which are very important destinations for tourism. And we know that I mean, a lot of livelihood depends on it. Dr. Saxena has already given some statistics and the kind of contribution they make to the GDP. And very often, because when we lock areas as wilderness areas, be it in protected area form or any other form, people often kind of complain that these are areas which do not let people utilize them because they're kind of locked. So one of the most tangible outcomes coming out of it is definitely in the form of tourism. And we are aware that in many natural sites, be it World Heritage sites or beyond them, they do contribute to local economy immensely. There are many examples where the entire townships and all are completely dependent on the natural site close to them. We have very few natural sites in India, just 8. So when I talk about these, I'll generally take the discussion beyond the World Heritage sites and take it to natural sites. And one important thing here is, of course, in present times, that conservation has to go hand in hand with this kind of use of these these natural resources in the form of tourism. So, I mean, and that is where we start talking about regulations. I mean, of course, the World Heritage sites, they come as a model because they are the best among the best. So, be it Kaziranga or Manas or Nanda Devi or Valley of Flowers or Sundarbans, they all are the top-notch protected areas or the wilderness areas of the country. And that is why every PA manager, the whole management system of these conservation areas, they look up to these World Heritage sites as models. Of course, as I said, regulation is something, because whenever there are tangible outputs in the form of livelihood, and there's always a tendency to increase them, try to benefit as many people as possible. But that doesn't really go very well with conservation. And in present times, I think we have realized how important these areas are for a very different purpose. I mean, in even dealing with problems like pandemics. So regulation is something that is, I think, very important if we want to keep conservation as a goal along with livelihoods. And of course, it's a tightrope walk. It's difficult to come up with numbers, how much regulation should be there. I mean, I must say that we haven't really made great headways in this direction. There are regulations in place in many of our wilderness areas. Some of them are the World Heritage sites as well. But to bring in objectivity in these regulations is a very tricky thing. If we go to a tiger reserve, we will have number of vehicles that can go in from a particular gate, or in trekking areas. I still remember, I mean, the example again from my state, Uttarakhand, when we introduced regulations in trekking, and that was in the famous Gangotri Gomukh route, way back in 2007-8, a major decision was taken by the government to limit the numbers. Until that time, there was no control on numbers, even though it's a national park. But the trek has an immense religious importance, and the number of people going in was pretty large, and the controls and regulations were few, and it was very evident the kind of damage that was taking place. And of course, taking to a very extreme example of Nanda Devi National Park, which was a cradle of mountaineering till it was banned in 1983, and there was very visible damages to those very fragile ecosystems that were located in this very high altitude area. And that is why some strict bans were, I mean, total ban, a blanket ban of trekking and mountaineering was done in that area. And the area has actually recovered, which has come up very nicely through the 10-year decadal monitoring expeditions that have been conducted. 3 of such expeditions have taken place, and they have actually documented the recovery of this habitat very well. So, I mean, regulations have come in. In fact, the Gangotri Gomukh route, which is, of course, Nanda Devi, very limited tourism takes place, but Gangotri National Park, there is a regular tourism, but there is a cap of 150 people per day. So this number has just arrived. I mean, it's not based on any very well calculated process, but nonetheless, it is serving a purpose. In the last 12 years of this imposition of regulation, the place has really recovered, and there's been a lot of control, and the balance, in a way, a balance between tourism and conservation has been struck. Going by that example, similar checks and balances were introduced in other mountain protected areas of Uttarakhand as well. And I'm sure there'll be examples from other states also. I've already talked about tiger reserves. So of course, more and more people want to visit these areas. Livelihoods have to increase. All those things are there. So a good strategy could be to spread these activities to other areas, and so that the concentrated damage to a particular area doesn't happen. And it's easier said than done, of course, because the kind of name that is associated with some of these areas, be it Nanda Devi or Valley of Flowers or Corbett or Sundarbans, everybody wants to go there. But but there are areas which are pretty similar in values, in biodiversity values. At least for a tourist, they won't be able to make out the difference. And so the idea is to take these things to other areas, spread it, but there has to be some services associated. And one of the most important thing is interpretive services. You can't just let somebody walk into an area and expect him to enjoy the biodiversity and go back satisfied until unless there is a proper interpretive facilities there. And there have been places where even areas with not having such a big famous tag with them have been able to attract tourists and in a good numbers again. So that is what I think is the need of the hour. So we can probably deal with tourism, look at it as a source of livelihood, local livelihood, and at the same time take care of conservation objectives also, and make strike a balance. And fortunately, there are examples to look at and to emulate from within the country. So I think I'll stop here. If there's anything specific that you would like to hear beyond this, Dr. Saxena, or we move.
थैंक यू सर. एंड अब हमारे बीच में सर स्वामी ज्ञानानंद जी ने भी अभी जो है ज्वाइन किया है, और आनंद कुमार सर जो सचिव है भारत सरकार में संस्कृति मंत्रालय के, वो भी ज्वाइन किए हुए. तो आप दोनों का स्वागत है. तो स्वामी ज्ञानानंद जी गीता मनीषी परम पूज्य स्वामी जी ज्ञानानंद जी महाराज की पावन प्रेरणा एवं आशीर्वाद से उत्तर भारत के अनेक क्षेत्रों में सांस्कृतिक विरासत को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए अनेक प्रकार के प्रयास किए जा रहे हैं. साथ साथ विभिन्न प्रकार के सामाजिक कार्य किए जा रहे हैं, जैसे कि प्रतिवर्ष महानिशुल्क राशन योजना, पोलियो से संबंधित अन्य प्रकार के शिविर. और संस्कृति के रूप में बात करें तो स्वामी जी प्रत्येक वर्ष आपके पावन साधन में संपन्न होने वाली गंगोत्री, यमुनोत्री, गंगा सागर, अमरकंटक, रामेश्वरम की जो यात्राएं होती हैं, उससे जो हमारी संस्कृति को बढ़ावा होता है और लोगों को वहां पर जिस प्रकार का टूरिज्म करते हैं, उसका एक अलग ही योगदान है. और इस विरासत और धरोहर को बढ़ाने के लिए, लोगों में जागरूकता लाने के लिए जो आपके प्रयास हैं, उसके बारे में आपसे विचार से चर्चा करेंगे. विश्व भर में आपने गीता के ज्ञान और गीता के प्रचार प्रसार में आपका जो योगदान है, और तरह तरह के जो आपने नए नए इनिशिएटिव्स लिए हैं राष्ट्रीय संस्कृति को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, लोगों में सांस्कृतिक धरोहर के प्रति जागरूकता बढ़ाने के लिए, इसका बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण योगदान है. और साथ ही घर घर गीता के बारे में, गीता की क्या उपयोगिता है, उसके बारे में आपने बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण कार्य में लगातार आप प्रयासरत हैं. और विशेष रूप से जब हम आज कोविड की बात कर रहे हैं, तो सांस्कृतिक धरोहर के रूप में आने वाले समय में लोगों को किस प्रकार से सावधानी बरतनी होगी, साथ साथ कुरुक्षेत्र में आपने विभिन्न प्रकार के कार्य किए, उसके बारे में आप बताएंगे. और हमारे बीच में श्री आनंद कुमार जी, जो कि सेक्रेटरी हैं मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कल्चर के, ही इज ऑल्सो प्रेजेंट. Mr. Anand Kumar is a civil servant. He joined Indian Forest Administrative Service in the year 1984, and he was allotted the Kerala cadre, and he holds MPhil degree with distinction from University of Delhi and MBA degree with honors from University of Queensland, Australia. During his career, he has held many important positions in new and renewable energy, tourism, infrastructure, industry, biotechnology, finance, revenue, elections and government sectors under the state and federal government. He has served as the Secretary, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India, and he was also chairman of International Steering Committee for setting of the International Solar Alliance. And he has now recently joined as a Secretary, Ministry of Culture, Government of India on 1st May 2020. So welcome to Anand Kumar, sir. Sir, I would request you to share your views on the policy perspective related to the promotion of the culture-based tourism, and your experience sharing and the new initiatives which are envisaged, sir. Anand Kumar, sir. सर की आवाज आ रही है?
Can you hear me?
He is yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Now you can see me also. All right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But,
Great.
yeah, yes. Sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Vivek, for inviting me to this important webinar on role of cultural and natural
The
heritage.
camera needs to be 180 degree because you are upside down.
I'm upside down.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, I'll become upside down here.
Okay, sir, you can
It's
continue.
okay. It's fine.
Yes.
We can see it fine.
We can see it, sir.
They can see it fine.
Sir, you can
see it fine?
continue, sir. Yes, sir.
I hope I'm not doing the Sirshasan. Steve, hi. I hope I'm not doing the Sirshasan. Okay, the third take.
The International Yoga Day also we
thank-
are celebrating simultaneously.
Right. So thank you, Vivek, for inviting me to this important webinar where we are discussing role of cultural and natural heritage in tourism economy. And let me begin with extending my heartfelt condolences to all those who lost their loved ones in COVID-19. And we all are with them in these tough times. And I also wish everyone who is attending the seminar best of health. And I would request that we all must maintain safe distance from each other. Though we call it social distancing, but we should respect physical distancing. And one thing good which has happened is that we have learned certain new lessons when we during the COVID-19, and one of the important lessons is that we must save on our resources in meetings by conducting these meetings virtually and also discussing issues of importance. But then, if we do everything virtually, where would tourism go? That is an important issue. The tourism cannot happen virtually. People would long to go and see the places themselves. It is an experiential thing. But then, during these days, what we should do and what we should not do. This is the apt time where we can generate interest in our cultural heritage, in our natural heritage, and when you're talking about the cultural heritage, both tangible and intangible heritage, through such webinars, through virtual tours, and also through various virtual talks. And this interest should be kept alive among the children, among the youth, and among section of all members of the society. We in the Ministry of Culture are trying to create this interest alive through various webinars, and we do and the virtual tours. We have enacted the virtual tours of various monuments, and we also keep the interest alive in music, dance, paintings, and other parts of it. Similarly, I would request the Ministry of Environment to have the virtual tours of various natural heritage, and they should also keep the interest alive in various sections of society by spreading the knowledge, by spreading the information about the hotspots we have, about the natural heritage we have, about the fauna we have, about the flora we have, what are the endemic species we have, and what special resources we have. So these special resources have to be highlighted. And this can be done very well. And we can, in this tough times, we should go beyond the textbooks. Generally, what happens, we teach children through the textbooks. Everybody comes, visits the home, but now they have time when they can learn these new things. When we talk about tourism, the advantage of tourism is that its benefit, they go far and wide, and they populate to all sections of the society, right from the street vendor to the five-star hotel owner, right from a guide to the person who is doing the cultural and tourism management. So this is a time when we have the time of difficulty. But then all these people should now prepare themselves, because tourism, the COVID is not going to be there for all times to come. Definitely, we have seen improvements happening elsewhere in the world. We are seeing the improvement happening in India, because we would have to, the things would definitely come on course of time. But we must now prepare for the better times to come. We must upgrade our skills. Let me take up for as far as the guides are concerned. They should develop, if a guide is there for that, then they should develop information about various other destinations. And we in the government must concentrate now on the skill and personality development courses for all those engaged in the tourism industry, in the cultural and natural heritage management. So this knowledge and skill impartation is imparting their knowledge and skill is of is of huge importance in this particular time. So what I talked about, that yes, we have a major role to play. The cultural and natural heritage has got great role to play in tourism economy. Number one. Number two, we must, in these tough times, must keep the interest of all stakeholders alive in this. Number three, we must impart knowledge and skill to various stakeholders so that they are equipped to deal with the better times. And number four, we must also go beyond the textbooks and talk to children about all these. And then the tourism benefit I have already stated. Now, what we have not done till now, when we talk about culture, tourism, natural heritage, quite often we always talked about the cultural heritage in isolation. We talked about natural heritage in isolation. We talked about the tourism destinations in isolation. We have never been able to give a composite product to the market. We must make plans now, like what we are doing in Ministry of Culture, what we are doing in Archaeological Survey of India. We are choosing certain monuments. In those monuments, we are also developing on-site museums. And through on-site museum, we are trying to bring in the information which has been there about those monuments, which people are not privy to till now. So that would be made public. So we are trying to build new products in the cultural side. And similarly, we must also try to do improve our natural heritage destinations and other tourist destinations. So what I was trying to say is that we should not talk about culture and natural heritage in tourism in isolation. It's not only the tourism economy. There's a cultural economy also. The cultural economy is all artists which perform there through the cultural heritage. Their livelihood is built in. So there is a cultural economy. There are people, the guides, which are dependent on them. And then there is the tourism economy, which is, so if we try to separate the cultural heritage, the natural heritage, and we talk in isolation about tourism economy, I think that's a very wrong thing to do. We should talk about a composite economy, and this composite economy is due to cultural heritage, due to natural heritage, and that turns into a tourism economy. So that's the tourism economy has got subsets of culture and natural heritage. I think Vivek, you would agree with me on that, and my friends from all Steve Borgia and Forest Service would say that yes, what I'm saying is correct, because tourism is the product, and substance in the products of the, and then the basis are the cultural heritage and the natural heritage. So we all must talk about not only tourism economy, but the tourism, but the economy of all those who are dependent on these things. So once we make the composite thing, we should now talk about the comprehensive development in this period of COVID. I recently saw Jallianwala Bagh. There is a Jallianwala Bagh monument. And if you see, people go there, Jallianwala Bagh, and then they come back. People go to Amritsar temple, they go there and come back. And people talk about, as Vivek has said, there's about a tourism economy. Yes, so many religious tourists have gone there, and they have so much of income has been generated, and so many of distribution of income has taken place. But are we now thinking that we should try to develop Amritsar as the comprehensive destination where we would be able to show not only Amritsar, we should be able to show the cultural heritage of that city. People should go to market, people should feel the sense, feel the essence of that city they should be able to have. So I think we should now plan for the comprehensive development of various tourism destinations, taking both cultural and natural ethos into account. And if we are able to do this cultural composite development of tourism, taking into holistically, taking into account the cultural and natural ethos, I think we will be able to revive tourism economy in a big way. So, and lastly, I would like to say that initially, in my own perception, the domestic travel would start. And then would be the international travel. But then we cannot start the whole domestic travel. We cannot allow the masses to go there. One thing which we have never respected in the country is the carrying capacity of a destination. We must have a carrying capacity of a destination. We must have a carrying capacity of a monument. We must decide about carrying capacity of a natural. So we must keep the carrying capacity in mind of a destination. We must keep the day-long capacity, keeping in view the health concerns of everybody, and start opening the monuments about the national and our national parks and sanctuaries, and promote gradually domestic tourism and then international tourism. And I'm sure we would bounce back. And with the rich cultural heritage which our country has, which rich natural heritage what our country has, I'm sure that our tourism economy is going to bounce back very soon. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to me. And please feel free to give your suggestions to us in the Ministry of Culture. We would be very happy to receive your suggestions and contribute for the development of the tourism economy of India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And as a Secretary Culture, Government of India, your assurance and your positive note of bouncing back of the tourism with the integration of the new innovative models, maybe the virtual tours, is strengthening our rich cultural heritage, and especially the aspect related to the carrying capacity, ensuring that at the same place, at the same time, we have so many tourists, they have large footprint, which sometimes degrade our natural areas also. With all these things, sir, I think your vision, your policies will certainly strengthen our natural and culture-based tourism initiatives. And before we, sir, thank you, sir, very much from your side. And before we, sir, proceed further, let me also welcome Arushi Nishank ji, and she has joined. And नमस्कार आरुषि जी। आरुषि जी हमारे साथ पैनल में स्वामी ज्ञानानंद जी महाराज जी भी हैं, डॉक्टर धनंजय मोहन जी हैं, वाइल्ड लाइफ इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ इंडिया से डायरेक्टर, मिस्टर मनु भटनागर जी हैं, आनंद कुमार सर सेक्रेटरी मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कल्चर हैं हम लोग के साथ, और अभी एक दो पैनलिस्ट और हैं, दे विल आल्सो ज्वाइन. So let me briefly introduce about Arushi Nishank ji. Arushi Nishank ji is a multi-talented personality. She is an internationally acclaimed Indian classical Kathak dancer, entrepreneur, film producer, a poetess, and an environmentalist. She is a disciple of Pandit Birju Maharaj. Arushi ji has been an active promoter for Namami Ganga mission, which is a project started by Government of India to clean river Ganga. Arushi ji has contributed her first ever clean Ganga. Arushi is and chairperson of the Sparsh Ganga campaign. This campaign was started in 2009 to promote awareness among people to save and clean river Ganga. Today, thousands of people are connected with this campaign to promote awareness about Ganga. Recently, Government of India recognized volunteers of the Sparsh Ganga campaign as Ganga heroes. With these words, I welcome Arushi ji once again, and let me take the proceedings further. And मैं अनुरोध करूंगा स्वामी ज्ञानानंद जी से कि उन्होंने जो एक मिशन के रूप में हमारी सांस्कृतिक धरोहर को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, उसको कंजर्व करने के लिए उन्होंने तरह तरह का एक जो मिशन चलाया है, उसमें हम लोगों को गाइड करें कि किस प्रकार से जो है इस मिशन में, अब विशेष रूप से जब हम कोविड के चुनौतियों को पूरा विश्व एक तरह से झेल रहा है, और भारतवर्ष में हमारे पास बहुत ही रिच सांस्कृतिक धरोहर है, बहुत ही हमारे अच्छे अच्छे प्राकृतिक संसाधन हैं, जिसमें कि टूरिज्म से रिलेटेड लोगों की बहुत ही जीविका भी जुड़ी हुई है। तो इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं स्वामी ज्ञानानंद जी महाराज जी से अनुरोध करूंगा कि वो हम सबको इस संबंध में अपना, उन्होंने जो प्रयास किए हैं, किस प्रकार से उसमें चुनौतियां हैं, आगे हमें किस प्रकार से करना है, उसके बारे में मार्गदर्शन।
जी विवेक जी, सबको जय श्री कृष्ण। आवाज हमारी पहुंच पा रही है? आवाज
आ रही है आपकी आवाज? जी आ रही है।
अच्छा लग रहा है कि कैसे समय में जबकि पूरा विश्व कोरोना वायरस की चुनौतियों से जूझ रहा है और अपना देश भी अछूता नहीं है, और हमें लगता है कि ये कोविड जो है ये चुनौती भी है, चेतावनी भी है, और कहीं कहीं कुछ प्रेरणाएं भी लिए हुए है। बहुत कुछ कोविड-19 ने दिखाया भी है, बहुत कुछ सिखाया भी है। बहुत कुछ ऐसा है जिससे हम प्रेरणा भी ले सकते हैं, और ऐसे समय में कुछ अपने कल्चरल वैल्यूज और कुछ टूरिज्म को लेकर के जो आज हम सब यहाँ बैठे हैं, हम कुछ बात रिलीजियस टूरिज्म, स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म को लेके करेंगे। हालांकि टूरिज्म के अनेक रूप हैं ही, वो सब आदरणीय आनंद जी ने बहुत विस्तार से भी चर्चा की। अपने भारत की, अपने देश की जो बहुत संपन्न समृद्ध सांस्कृतिक विरासत है, उसको लेकर के तो हमें लगता है कि टूरिज्म के भी कई स्वरूप हैं। कहीं ऐतिहासिक रूप है टूरिज्म का, हिस्टोरिकल रूप, कहीं अपना नेचर से जुड़ा हुआ बहुत कुछ है भारत में जो टूरिज्म के लिए के रूप में है, और उसे और आगे डेवलप किया जा सकता है, विकसित किया जा सकता है। बहुत कुछ ऐसा वाइल्ड लाइफ को के साथ जुड़ा हुआ भी टूरिज्म है हमारा, कहीं जू और कहीं, और हमें प्रसन्नता है कि लगभग हर क्षेत्र से यहाँ अच्छे थिंकर्स, अच्छे स्कॉलर्स यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं। तो हम बात करें कि इस समय जो कोविड-19 को लेके चुनौतियां हैं, देखो कहीं ना कहीं जो आजीविका प्रभावित हुई है, आजीविका हर क्षेत्र में प्रभावित हुई है, और हमें लगता है कि टूरिज्म का जो फील्ड है उसमें विशेष इसका असर दिखाई दे रहा है। लेकिन आजीविका के साथ साथ जो एक मानसिक तनाव कहीं ना कहीं एक समस्या बन रहा है, मानसिक तनाव, दबाव, उसमें भी कहीं ना कहीं ये लाइवलीहुड जो है, आजीविका, वो भी एक कारण है। और वैसे भी कई तरह से ये कोविड-19 कई तरह से तनाव, दबाव, टेंशन, स्ट्रेस और कहीं कहीं डिप्रेशन की ओर ले जा रहा है। जब हम टूरिज्म की बात करते हैं, हमें लगता है कि जो अपना स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म है, उसका जो स्वरूप है वो कितना आवश्यक है। जैसे पूरे देश को जोड़ने का काम टूरिज्म करता है। हम जो छोटी सी बात लें चार धाम की, चार धाम उत्तराखंड के अलग हैं, गंगोत्री, यमुनोत्री, बद्री, केदार। आरुषि जी आए हैं उत्तराखंड से ही, और गंगा स्पर्श के रूप में उनका जो अभियान है वो निश्चित निस्संदेह स्तुत्य है, वंदनीय अभियान है उनका। तो चार धाम हम जब उत्तराखंड के लेते हैं वो अलग है, लेकिन पूरे देश के जब हम चार धाम लेते हैं तो उसमें आप देखेंगे उत्तर में बद्रीनाथ है, दक्षिण में रामेश्वरम है, पूर्व में जगन्नाथ है, पश्चिम में द्वारका है। अब इसके पीछे आप देखें आद्य जगद्गुरु शंकराचार्य जी की कितनी एक गहरी सोच रही राष्ट्र के प्रति। अध्यात्म तो मुखरित होता ही है, लेकिन राष्ट्र की अखंडता, सांस्कृतिक एकता जिस ढंग से टूरिज्म के द्वारा बनती है, उसका और कोई आसान साधन दूसरा नहीं है किसी भी रूप में। राजनीति के माध्यम से कई तरह के जुड़ाव आते हैं, लेकिन कई तरह के अलगाव भी आते हैं, और भी अन्य अन्य क्षेत्रों में कई स्थितियां आती हैं। लेकिन जहां ये हमारा आध्यात्मिक पर्यटन, अलग अलग ये चार धाम या तीर्थ, ये जिस ढंग से सहजता से जुड़ाव ले आते हैं, एक दूसरे से लगाव ले आते हैं, अपनी परंपराओं के प्रति झुकाव भाव ये सब ले आते हैं, तो इसमें आप देखेंगे कि कहीं उत्तर के लोग दक्षिण जाएंगे, दक्षिण की संस्कृति को समझेंगे, दक्षिण के लोग कहीं उत्तर में आएंगे, कहीं पूर्व में आएंगे। जब जगन्नाथपुरी जाएंगे तो वहां पूर्व की संस्कृति क्या है वहां देखने को मिलेगा, पूर्व के लोग पश्चिम में आएंगे, पश्चिमी भारत का क्या है, क्या स्वरूप है, क्या संस्कृति है वो देखने को मिलेगा। और फिर ये चार धाम, चारों देश के चारों जो कॉर्नर हैं, उत्तर चारों दिशाएं हैं, एक सजग प्रहरी के रूप में सजग सांस्कृतिक प्रहरी का काम करते हैं। एक पक्ष तो ये है कि हमारी जो समृद्ध आध्यात्मिक सांस्कृतिक विरासत है वो मुखरित हो सकती है केवल और केवल स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म के माध्यम से, वो आम लोगों के पास पहुंच सकती है केवल टूरिज्म के माध्यम से। देखो आस्था के साथ जोड़ा गया, आस्था बताएगी कि चार धाम करोगे तो मोक्ष मिलेगा, चार धाम करोगे तो कल्याण होगा, धाम करोगे सच बहुत सी चीजें, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ धाम करेंगे तो कितना बड़ा लाभ होगा, अपनी जो सांस्कृतिक विरासत है उसकी पहचान होगी, पता चलेगा कि गंगोत्री जाएंगे तो गंगा जी की कलकल धारा किस रूप में वहां से निसृत हुई है, निर्गत हुई है, वो सामने आएगा। कहीं भागीरथ का भागीरथी पुरुषार्थ सामने आए, तो बहुत कुछ प्रारंभ से लेके एक सांस्कृतिक परंपरा धरोहर के रूप में हमारे पास खिंचती हुई आएगी। तो ऐसे ही कोई भी तीर्थ है जब हम उससे जुड़ते हैं, कोई भी आध्यात्मिक पर्यटन के रूप में जुड़ते हैं, तो एक तो हम अपनी मूल सांस्कृतिक धरोहर की पहचान कर पाते हैं, बहुत बड़ा लाभ है जो कहीं ना कहीं आने वाली पीढ़ियां भौतिकवाद के प्रभाव से फूलती जा रही हैं। दूसरा ये है तनाव, वैसे इस पे बोले तो घंटों क्या इसमें एक पूरा बहुत बड़ा सही बुक तैयार हो सकती है, लेकिन हम संकेत में दो तीन इशारे करेंगे। तनाव दबाव जो कहीं ना कहीं कई कारणों से बढ़ जाते हैं, तो अपने यहाँ बड़ा सहज सा साधन है कि चलो हरिद्वार चलते हैं, गंगा जी में डुबकी लगाते हैं, तनाव कम, वृंदावन चलते हैं, भगवान बांके बिहारी के दर्शन होंगे, तो तनाव कम करने का, तनाव दूर करने का भी एक बड़ा सरल सा सहज सा साधन है। ये हमारे आध्यात्मिक पर्यटन, आध्यात्मिक तीर्थ स्थल, और इसलिए और साथ साथ आजीविका का भी, वैसे तो ढेरों स्थितियां हैं आजीविका का भी। अभी हम देखते हैं, हम लगभग एक सप्ताह पूर्व हरिद्वार गए। वहाँ क्योंकि कुंभ मेला तैयारियां हो रही हैं, तो वहाँ हमारी चर्चा हुई वहाँ के अधिकारियों से, और कुंभ को लेकर के वहाँ की क्या संभावनाएं हो सकती हैं। तो लगा कि देखिए, एक बार अगर ये कोविड के कारण से कहीं लॉकडाउन हुआ, कहीं प्रतिबंध लगे, आवश्यक भी है वो सब, लेकिन आजीविका पर कितना बड़ा प्रभाव हम सोचने लगे कि 4 धाम की यात्रा रुक गई, उससे कितना बड़ा, और पूरा का पूरा वो क्षेत्र निर्भर इसी पर करता है कि 3-4 महीने लोगों का आना जाना, और हजारों नहीं लाखों लाखों लोगों की जीविका सीधी सीधी इससे जुड़ी हुई है। एक सामान्य चाय वाले से लेकर के, रिक्शा वाले से लेकर के, टूरिज्म के बड़े बड़े सेंटर, सबकी जीविका, बड़े बड़े होटल, सब कहीं ना कहीं प्रश्नों के घेरे में आ गए। तो आजीविका भी, जितना टूरिज्म बढ़ता है, जितना लोगों का आकर्षण बढ़ता है, जितना हम ध्यान इधर खींचते हैं, तनाव कम होते हैं, परंपराओं से जुड़ाव होता है, हजारों लाखों लोगों को आजीविका के साधन मिलते हैं, तो ये सब तो निश्चित है ही है। लेकिन हमारे 1-2 सुझाव हैं इसमें, कि जैसे कोई भी हमारा तीर्थ है, हम हरिद्वार से या उत्तराखंड से प्रारंभ करते हैं, गंगा जी हैं, लोग आए स्नान करें, तो हमारे अपने टूरिज्म डिपार्टमेंट है, वो कुछ इस ढंग के आकर्षण और साथ में पैदा करें कि गंगा जी को लेकर के कुछ प्रारंभ से लेकर कोई म्यूजियम बने, कोई वहाँ ऐसे संधान के अंदर रिसर्च सेंटर बने कि गंगा जल की पावनता क्या है, उसके प्रति कुछ और शोध हो, कुछ अच्छे जो स्कॉलर्स हैं उन्हें वहां आमंत्रित किया जाए। कुरुक्षेत्र है, गीता की उपदेश स्थली है, केवल लोग मत्था टेके प्रणाम करें वो भी एक पक्ष है, लेकिन वहां रिसर्च सेंटर्स बने कि गीता क्या है, विश्व भर के कभी नेचर से जुड़े हुए लोग आए, विश्व भर के कभी मेडिकल साइंस, हेल्थ साइंस और साइंस, कभी जोलॉजी, बायोलॉजी, हर तरह के लोग वहां, उस तरह का पर्यटन भी हम विकसित कर पाए कि ऐसे ऐसे स्कॉलर्स हर तरह के वहां आए। कभी हम वृंदावन है वहां जाएं, स्वच्छता हो, शुद्धता हो, पावनता हो, वो सब भी आवश्यक है, उसके भी आकर्षण बने। लेकिन साथ साथ भगवान कृष्ण का जीवन कितना दिव्य था, कितना महान था, उनके जीवन के हर पहलू, वो कुछ ऐसा पर्यटन विभाग, हमारा टूरिज्म मिनिस्ट्री जो है, वो ऐसी कोई तैयारी करे कि लोग उस ढंग के भी आए। भगवान कृष्ण का एक साइकेट्रिस्ट रूप जो है वो कितना दिव्य है, भगवान कृष्ण का एक सेना नायक का रूप, एक कमांडर का रूप, भगवान कृष्ण का एक ट्यूटर का रूप, भगवान कृष्ण का एक पॉलिटिशियन का, तो ऐसे एक रिसर्च सेंटर्स वहां लोगों को उस ढंग से खींचा जाए। तो इस ढंग से हम किसी भी तीर्थ में ऐसे कोई शोध केंद्र बनाए, म्यूजियम बनाए, कुछ ऐसे सेंटर जहां लोगों को जोड़े, लोगों के आकर्षण के केंद्र बने। तो इस ढंग से जब हम चलेंगे तो हमें लगता है कि देश की हमारी ये जो समृद्ध विरासत है, बहुत बड़ी आवश्यकता है वो पहुंचे, क्योंकि भौतिकवाद का हम देखते हैं इतना तीखा प्रहार और प्रभाव हो रहा है इस समय। हम युवाओं को अपने देखते हैं, अभी हम थोड़ी देर आते आते गुरुग्राम यूनिवर्सिटी में थे, तो वहाँ चर्चा हो रही थी कि गुरुग्राम में और बड़े मेट्रो सिटीज में किस तरह से बच्चे, टीनेजर्स किस तरह से अपनी परंपराओं से दूर हो रहे हैं। तो हमें बहुत कुछ करना शेष है अभी, और टूरिज्म डिपार्टमेंट बहुत कुछ कर सकता है युवाओं को जोड़ने के लिए, अलग बच्चों को जोड़ने के लिए, और अपने जो कहीं ना कहीं स्ट्रेस में है, डिप्रेशन में है, उनको खींचने के लिए बहुत साधन अपनाए जा सकते हैं। हम आपके साथ हैं, बोलने को बहुत कुछ बोला जा सकता है, लेकिन जब भी विवेक जी और जो भी बैठे हैं हमारे यहाँ, धनंजय जी, मनु जी, आनंद जी का बहुत अच्छा संदेश हमने सुना, अरुषि जी है यहाँ, तो जिस रूप में जब जब भी विवेक जी आवश्यकता होगी, हमारा प्रिय विषय तो है ही है, लेकिन हमारे अंदर की आत्मा जुड़ी हुई है इस विषय के साथ, हमारी पूरी की पूरी चेतना आपके इस विषय में जुड़ी हुई है। और आज बहुत व्यस्तता थी, लेकिन जैसे ही विवेक जी आपका संकेत आया कि इस विषय पे हमें बैठना है, तो हमें लगा कि ये तो हमारी अंतरात्मा की आवाज का विषय है। टूरिज्म के किसी भी पहलू के लिए, किसी शोध के लिए, किसी कई युवाओं को जोड़ने के लिए, तो हम बिल्कुल आपके साथ होंगे। बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं हमारी आप सबके लिए कि आप सब ने एक अच्छा प्रयास आज इस कार्य के लिए किया है। कुरुक्षेत्र के कई विषय और थे, लेकिन मदन मोहन जी यहाँ हैं, वो शायद वो चर्चा कर लेंगे। इतना ही, सबको शुभकामनाएं। जय श्री कृष्ण।
स्वामी ज्ञानानंद जी, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और IUCN की तरफ से विशेष धन्यवाद, और हम सब आपके बहुत आभारी हैं। आपने जो मार्गदर्शन दिया और अपने विचार रखे, और इस प्रकार की जो हमारा एक मुहिम है कि किस प्रकार से सांस्कृतिक और नेचुरल टूरिज्म को हमें आगे बढ़ाना है, सस्टेन रखना है, जिसको लोगों को उससे संबंधित रोजगार से जोड़ना है, इसको हम लोग सब मिलकर आगे बढ़ाएंगे। और अब मैं नाउ रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ मनु भटनागर जी, जो कि आर्ट और कल्चर हेरिटेज से संबंधित एक संस्था इंटैक्ट, उसके विषय में बताएंगे। उसके वो प्रिंसिपल डायरेक्टर हैं। और मनु भटनागर जी, आप अपने संस्था के बारे में, आपने जो यू हैव डन ए रिमार्केबल वर्क फॉर प्रिजर्वेशन एंड कंजर्वेशन ऑफ आर्ट एंड कल्चर हेरिटेज। तो मनु भटनागर जी, प्लीज, फ्लोर इज योर्स।
सबको नमस्कार। मैं इंटैक को यहाँ पर रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा हूँ। आप लोग शायद जानते होंगे, इंटैक का NGO है जो कल्चर, आर्किटेक्चरल हेरिटेज, नेचुरल हेरिटेज के एरियाज में काम कर रही है। हमारा ये मानना है कि इंडिया इज कल्चरली वेरी रिच and offers an endless variety of tourism interest. After COVID downslide, it will take some time for tourism to recover, and once it recovers, there will be a requirement for more and more sites, because tourism sector is growing and also needs to grow because it is a labor intensive sector for us, and therefore we require that in order to grow the sector, we must also have more and more sites of tourism interest. In this regard, I have to say that INTACH is working on many heritage sites. Many these are multifaceted. They may have architectural elements, they may have natural elements, and they may also have cultural elements. As Mr. Anand Mohan from the ministry was saying, that we need to have composite sites, sites of composite interest. We cannot have isolated natural heritage sites, isolated architectural sites anymore. We have to have composite sites. Now, nature is the foundation of culture. In fact, the cultural variation is reflecting the spatial variation of natural conditions in the country. And INTACH is working at the intersect of nature and culture. Now, I would like to introduce a few slides quickly so as to be very specific. Now, Achal, how do I bring on the presentation, please?
Sir, I've given you the rights to share your screen.
Yeah, please. What next should I do?
So click on the link which is third below the red arrow.
Yeah, I've clicked on that.
Yeah, so
it's visible now, sir.
So we can
It's visible now.
Screen.
Yeah, so I should bring on the presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but just a minute.
Yeah, it's visible. Its screen is visible.
Yeah, our screen may be visible, but I cannot remove this and get to my presentation.
Achal, can you do from your end?
Sir, there's a red arrow on the very top of the panel, so you can just
Yeah.
click on it, which faced right side.
Okay.
So it will be minimized.
Yeah.
Right. Just a moment.
ये रेड एरो जो है उसको क्लिक कर सकते हैं.
Anyway, sir, ये हमें दिखाई नहीं देगा, तो आप प्रेजेंटेशन ऑन कर सकते हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी.
अब आपको दिखाई दे रहा है?
जी सर, हमें योर स्क्रीन इज विजिबल क्लियरली.
Okay, so now shall I move on then? Right.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
please. Your screen is there. We are seeing Kedarnath foot pilgrimage.
It's vanished again.
It is visible now, sir.
Yeah, okay, let me continue. So one of the projects which we have initiated is the Kedarnath foot pilgrimage. So because today what's happening is that pilgrimage and tourism are being confused with each other. Even the word religious tourism somehow seems to jar to my ears. Unless an effort is put in to reach those sacred sites on the tops of the Himalayas, we do not really get a sense of the sacred feeling which that pilgrimage arouses. So in the wake of the Uttarakhand disaster of 2013, when we found that many of the roads were also blocked because of poor geological selection of route sites, and in fact we found that the old pilgrimage routes which had been abandoned in favor of the road traffic, these were still functional because they had been established over thousands of years, and they could form not only good evacuation routes during emergencies, but they also formed interesting routes for movement, whereby you also got to see much of the natural heritage outside the protected areas, of course, and you also saw great deal of cultural heritage as well. In the next few slides, I'll show you, and we also found that many old buildings lay along the route, lying abandoned, with cows sheltered in what used to be libraries and dharamshalas. So we had put up this project to the state government that the old pilgrimage routes, the walking routes, they need to be revived, and that would then, create a combination of cultural and natural heritage product for the tourists and the pilgrims. So a long route which was divided into 10 legs, so that in each leg you would be able to cover a comfortable amount of the journey. You would travel on sites like these, take in the natural heritage. You would see some of the very old temples like Tungnath and others, and sites like the Chaukham peaks. Many festivals take place in that area, which, and Pandav Leela, for example, the Samudra Manthan, and others. So you would have a combination of nature, architecture, as well as cultural heritage at your disposal. You would be able to see very, pristine forests, these are some of the sacred groves en route, and the feeling which you would get over there would probably compensate for any discomfort of the journey. Temples like these at Garud Chatti, they would all be available to you, and so on. So now here's another interesting project which we are currently doing, and that's a study of the Betwa River Basin. Now, we always consider that in India, rivers are cultural streams, not just flowing streams, but also cultural streams. And you see the temples at Orcha along the banks of the river. You can well imagine if the river was not there, the significance of these temples, these chhatris would not be the same as without the river. So this is yet another work which we have initiated. Close by, we have the Cane River, but the Cane River is, many people see it only as a river, but it is also very interesting geology. So we have also ventured into the area of geological heritage, and some of the initiatives are like this. This is the Ramgarh meteorite crater. Now, this is in Baran district, Rajasthan. You can see what a massive meteorite impact has taken place, 3.5 kilometers diameter. And the other one to the right is the Shivpuri crater. This is at Dhala, Madhya Pradesh. So, these sites are just lying simply abandoned without anybody taking any interest in them. Now we have, apart from these, we have also done the Zawar zinc mines, which are 2,500 years old, close to Udaipur. And these two also we are preparing the ecotourism plans for both these sites. Now these are of course our own initiatives. Nobody has asked us to do that. But once you initiate these things, ultimately they would reach somewhere. This is the Mani Mahesh sacred landscape north of Chamba, and we carried out a study for the huge mela which takes place over there. Now, this is for a period of just 15 days after Janmashtami. Almost 1 million people come to that site, and it gets completely ruined. The Kugpi Wildlife Sanctuary is next door. Now, in order to promote tourism, even helicopter journeys are being undertaken, and the noise and sound is incredible. And the entire, fauna of that sanctuary gets completely disturbed. So we had tried to make a plan for this, lesser known site, and in order to be able to create a balance between the needs of pilgrimage and the needs of the let me say nature. A whole lot of force of mules is pressed into service, and in the lack of forage they graze all the local vegetation and leave the surfaces bare. So these the balance between development and nature would have to be struck in order to preserve these sites for sustained use. The high altitude lakes. Now, one of the major projects which we are doing at the moment, and which may be of interest to my fellow speaker Arushi, this is the Ganga River corridor, which we are looking at right from Gangotri all the way up to the Ganga Sagar, 2,525 kilometers, 49 districts. So in a corridor of 5 kilometers wide on either side of the main stem of the Ganga River, we are looking at architectural heritage, cultural heritage, and natural heritage too. So one interesting, although minor aspect is the large number of ancient and sacred trees on the banks of the river. These are being identified. In the upstream stretches, I showed this photograph a little earlier also, sacred groves close to the river. We have abandoned sites like these, colonial time sites. This is at Mirzapur. So the Varanasi-Mirzapur stretch of the river is very rich. And if we were to take Varanasi across the river, Ramnagar, and all the way up to Mirzapur, this could make a very interesting boat tourism circuit. And these abandoned buildings can be put to great reuse. Look at the Chunar Fort from the river. It's such a powerful site, and it has the house of the bungalow of Warren Hastings in it, all lying empty, very few visitors. Old customs house which on the edge of the river in Mirzapur. You can see this would be very impressive building. The Morcha Ghar again at Mirzapur. This is it is associated with the war of 1857. The Indian soldiers who were tried in this building and shot. And all these are in government possession, lying abandoned, not used, in ruins. So there's a very terrific circuit over there. And so these are some of the initiatives which we are taking, and hopefully the government will pursue them with greater determination in due course. And the last one which we have initiated, of which I cannot show you many images at the moment, and that is the Vraj sacred region. So Vraj sacred region, of course, we all know about Mathura and Vrindavan and all the big places. But there are, many places on the parikrama, the old forests which are listed, the sacred ones, which are now not to be found, but they can be, sort of located and revived. So that would create a very interesting circuit. Now, from what I've said, as you can see, most of the combined nature culture heritage and sites from the point of view of tourism are to be found in the landscape. So we need to have a landscape approach whenever we want to have these nature and culture sites combined. And with that, I would conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuji, and really you have given a very good insight about various initiatives, the old historical buildings, the potential sites which can have a lot of tourist potential also, as well as learning from the past also, preservation of the rich culture and in such a natural heritage sites.
In fact, I may just add that in the districts which we have already covered along the Ganga, we found several floodplain lakes, and in winters these lakes are full of migrant birds. In my view, almost each of them would be easily qualify as a Ramsar site. So it's tremendous opportunities for nature tourism, and if combined with other cultural aspects, you could have a great combination.
Thank you, Manuji. And now, in the interest of the time, now let me request Arushi Nishank, because she has been spearheading the Namami Ganga campaign, part of this through her Sparsh Ganga volunteers doing a great work for preservation and conservation of rich heritage of our Ganges, because along the Ganges we have very, very rich culture as well as natural heritage. So let's now listen from Arushi ji. Arushi ji, please.
Thank you so much, Vivek ji, and thank you everyone. And this was a very insightful session, I must say. We got to see a lot of beautiful heritage sites and get to know more and more about it. So first of all, a very thank you to IUCN and Vivek ji calling me for this session. Yes, certainly, because nature is too close to my heart, and with Sparsh Ganga, we are trying to save much of the heritage, the cultural heritage, the natural heritage, and our whole team is trying to, working in a better direction to save and promote these sites as well. But just to start, I would like to congratulate our culture ministry, first of all, because we just talked about a lot of the sites, heritage sites, where the tourism has been increased rapidly in number of times, and they have very closely worked with UNESCO to, save them, to promote them. And by promoting them, certainly we have tapped a very big aspect of giving employment to our local people. So thank you so much for that. And then second thing, what I would really like to cover today in my conversation is about the culture, heritage, intangible aspect, what we're going to talk about. We have seen a lot of beautiful locations and sites, but what about we don't get to touch? We're saying it's intangible things and intangible assets, the intangible heritage we are very rich with. And for that, I'm sure Vivek ji must have already conveyed, but in 2003, there was a convention happened, UNESCO convention happened, where they talked about safeguarding the lot of aspect of Indian intangible heritage things, where 106 proposals and things has been given by our culture ministry, and they have segregated those things into 4 points. I would like to take those 4 points, and then we can see that how tourism, how employment, how economy connected with these 4 or 5 points, where we have to take our intangible heritage assets move forward. So first of all, they talk about the language, which is a vehicle of our intangible heritage sites. And we know about languages, that India, it is a very famous tropes. We say that each 2 miles water changes, and after 4 miles speech. So in India, we have almost 120 main languages and 1,599 approximate other languages, which really need to be dealt. We need to create a kind of a skill set where people are quite much aware about these languages, because if these languages will be promoted, our heritage, our culture, our India will grow big and bigger. And then second thing comes about the social practice and the rituals. This is, we are talking about our religious practices. This is we talking about the funeral system. This is what we talking about, all the pilgrimage, all the process happen in India. We talk about Havan, which becomes so prominent in all over the world, because we know this has a lot of scientific aspect involved into it. So what we really require right now, to promote it into a more scientific way as well, so more people can have a firm belief in this, and that's how we can contribute in making the Indian economy big, the Indian culture and heritage spreading to the world. Very main point is the performing arts, and yes, certainly there are a lot of performing arts. The Ministry of Culture has approved as the intangible heritage assets, which comes Ramayana, which comes Kalbelia dance from Rajasthan. We talk about the Pandav dance. अभी किन्हीं महाशय ने हमको इस बात का mention भी किया था. And those dances, become our heritage thing. So we really need to promote that. We're talking about the traditional craftsmanship as well. So we know that in India, there are 34 main craftsmanship, and I do not know how many has not been registered yet. So what we are talking right now, we really need to promote those craftsmanship when we are involving this tourism sector, when we are talking about spreading tourism, which is involving spiritual tourism, we talk about medical tourism, we talk about any of the tourism, then these aspects, especially the craftsmanship, need to involve into it for making little more profits. And we cannot avoid the knowledge and practices of concerning nature and universe, where we talks about yoga. We all are talking about heritage here today. But my point, why we could not think about it before? Because in India, and this new generation tend to forget about what exactly they are. And when I talk about yoga, when yoga become yoga and comes from abroad to us, and then we say, oh yes, it belongs to us. जी हाँ, हमारे ऋषि पतंजलि, he has invented yoga. We have been practicing it since many years, but we recognize it because it comes from abroad. So we need to be very much confident about, in our heritage. We have to give this confidence to our next generation. And I cannot forget to talk about the very famous and very prominent Kumbh Mela, which has been announced Indian heritage asset. There are 60 million people from all over the world comes and take a dip in Ganga ji. What we really need to think about, these 60 million people are not only Indian. These 60 million people are not only Hindu. But these are the people who can understand, who knows what is the Gangaji's value. We talk about the ecological aspect. Just now, Bhatnagar has talked about a lot of species still surviving on Gangaji. We talk about 90 special species of fishes which only survives in Gangaji. We talk about the scientific aspect of Gangaji. There are a lot of viruses have been killed in each of our puja ghar. We comes from a from a dead person ritual. We always come home and first sprinkle those Gangaji dal on ourselves. So still we believe in that. So what is the basic requirement? Very beautifully said by Bhatnagarji that he is creating a beautiful riverbed sites all alongside of Gangaji. There should be a proper employment generation. There should be a skill development set need to be developed, because we are going to have Char Dham Yatra. Today we have started Char Dham Yatra. We're talking about the Kumbh is coming. So this is very much required. A person and people, all the guides should be trained in different languages. They should be trained that how Gangaji, gives a variety of things. It has all Shraddha, Astha, and scientific and ecological aspect into this. And moreover, when I came to Vivekji's event, and we talked about circular economy, and after that I become the first person who's talking very loud and heavy about circular economy. And very gladly we have started working in a very big direction to promote it. How we have started, I would like to share with you. All the Phool Patti comes in Gangaji. We have given employment to 200 women, which are making scent sticks by those waste. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to create employment alongside Gangaji, because we yet believe 40% of Indian population, directly or indirectly survive on Gangaji. So, this is a requirement that alongside we are promoting and talking about tourism, we need to think about our cultural heritage things also, which is tangible, which is intangible. We really need to, make use of it. And when we are in this grave time of COVID-19, certainly this is very important. I would like to take an opportunity to talk about khadi also, which has not been yet said that it is our our heritage, our intangible or tangible heritage. But certainly this is not only a kapra, it has always been an ideology. And promoting tourism, we need to promote khadi alongside, because whenever we are wearing mask, we wearing it and we are throwing it away. With Sparsh Ganga, we have made and distributed more than 2 lakhs of khadi masks, which is certainly trying to contribute it into a rural area population employment generation. They are giving them bread and butter. They are providing they are safeguarding our sustainable development. They are safeguarding our environment. So certainly I believe that not only tourism, but we really need to think about how we can connect our environmental aspect with each side, with each component we are bringing in for the revenue generation. And for yoga, very well said by Acharya ji, that spirituality become very prominent in this time. And I believe that whole world is looking up to India right now, because the mental peace we are spreading, the confidence we are giving to the world, that is very important. So I believe these are the aspects need to be very, these aspects are very, very important, and we really need to think and work together to promote it. Thank you so much, Vivek ji.
Thank you, Arushi ji, for sharing your thoughts, your initiatives, and certainly during this COVID times, the initiative which your organization has taken and your vision for promotion and conservation of rich and natural cultural heritage. And thank you so much for joining. And in the interest of time, now may I request Mr. Steve to share his initiative for promotion of the rural tourism and at the same time conservation of our natural heritage. And he is a director of Indeco Leisure Hotels, and he can introduce a little bit about his chain of these hotels and the activities which he's undertaking. Mr. Sri, please.
Thank you very much, distinguished people on the panel. My name is Steve Borgia. I come from South, from Tamil Nadu region. But the passion to do something for environment, conservation, ecology, heritage, I literally flung through the whole world. Then when I got back to India in mid-90s, I got myself attached to various organizations, including UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Indian Heritage Hotel Association, of which I was the founding vice president, and Ecotourism Society of India, which is now the Responsible Tourism of India. So a lot of hobnobbing. I moved and moved until today. When I say today, I'm talking about around early 90s. I realized I should have started my work in the village with the people, not with the experts. So quickly I went back searching where I should launch the first project, because I believe, and I have proved it in days to come, that the treasure is still in the village. The best aspects of India is still hidden in the village, right? Starting from the farmer. We have broken their backbone. They still have so much to offer. So much to offer. So I went back to the village and I started my work there in a small village called near Kumbakonam, which is near Tanjore. I have 3 World Heritage sites around this place. Just within 20 minutes of drive, 3 World Heritage sites. Again, Ganga Ikonda Cholapuram, Ganga got related there. Today we are talking more about Ganga. Anyhow, it was dilapidated and left unoccupied for 100 years. 3 villages, a Muslim village, a Hindu village, where the great Shankaracharya once lived, and the 3rd village was making arms and ammunition for the Chola king. 100 years unoccupied. I went and started it there. First, I had to start conserving the village. So I conserved home by home, 100 homes, in which there were 2 big palaces. I started conservation of palaces. So what happens in this is, when you start working with the people, for the people, by the people, with what they know, with what they have and what they do, you start doing everything: ecological coexistence, conservation, protection of art and culture, and the whole gamut. Everything gets consolidated in a very natural manner. Today, 3 beautiful dilapidated villages have been conserved, and it has become the finest heritage hotel in India. Can you imagine a heritage hotel in 3 villages spanning to about 30 acres with a river going in between? Very natural. It is no cheap, it is no rustic. It's a very naturally done. One day it might qualify because I have conserved it on the same foundation for a World Heritage Site. The way we have conserved those palaces, one is a Hindu palace and the other one is a Muslim palace. So this is where conservation started. We go back to the village, and then we pioneered rural tourism. We learned one by one. If you enter that village, you will not know it's a hotel. You will see a man spinning there. You will see a man bringing down the coconuts, another guy producing toddy, da 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 da. So the entire hotel, 99% of my staff are from the village. It employs literally all the people from the village. So a hotel, if you're into rural tourism, all this falls in place. And if you are not able to give offer in return to the local communities, then it is not fair tourism at all. It is exploitative tourism, highly exploitative tourism. That's why in my new proposal for the Northeast, I said, let's develop homestays. Let's recognize natural heritage and protect it. Here you don't build, you protect. Allow tourism, but you protect the heritage, and don't allow big brand hotels like Oberoi, Sheraton to come into the Northeast. Leave it to the people of the Northeast. Let them run homestay. Let it become in the world the only homestay destination. The Northeast kids have DNA, tourism DNA in their blood. All over India, our restaurants in Chennai or a village near Chennai is run by the children of the Northeast. It's in their DNA. Why can't they do it? It's actually a human rights issue that we are denying them to stay in their own hometown with their parents. They are with their parents for 20 days a year. That's it. So we started the project. Today, let me tell you, this hotel that we built in this village, now we go on building where conservation, ecological protection, and heritage conservation is required. Otherwise, we are not interested in that site. And we make the whole world come there to see the very process of change. This is what has happened. We started a brand called Indeco, India Ecology, under which all this happens. I mean, there is the medical aspect to Corona, but there's also the other side of Corona. Let me tell you. I've been all through working with government committees, ministries, this, that. I spent 3 days, a week in Delhi. The last 1 year I stopped because I was not seeing any change. 40 years. Today, just 30 days of Corona, I see a sparrow sitting on my window, which I saw when I was a baby. Delhi air is pure. All my friends talk about it. Venice waters are green, beautiful blues. Every day you go onto Facebook and WhatsApp, you will see people posting pictures of the cloud today, this today, that bird, this bird. All this is beautiful things that are happening. People are cleaning up their water bodies in Chennai. Very beautiful. Rivers are flowing with clean water. So this is the other aspect. So whether you want it or you don't want it, the intelligent man, the IT kids are automatically looking for, is there a destination that is very safe to go? I'd like to go on holiday in a village. I'd like to go on holiday.
Mr. Steve, can you just summarize in 1 minute, because we are already running now short of time because we're still.
Okay, I'll do it.
You
So
can
this
just
is what is happening.
conclude in that.
Whether you want it or not, everybody will be going into the rural area looking for sustainable tourism project, which is our cap. And now this should be the horse on which we should pedal if you want the world to see India with new eyes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Steve, and certainly your initiatives in promoting the rural tourism and conservation at the same time of the rich cultural heritage is really remarkable. And in the interest of the time, because we have to listen other panelists also, and we will be certainly sharing with you the audience questions also. If they have any suggestions that we will be sharing, you can respond. And now let me welcome Mr. Madan Mohan Chawdaji. Madan Mohan Chawdaji is presently Honorary Secretary and member of the Kurukshetra Development Board. He has been actively associated with several development projects in Kurukshetra and very passionately involved in developing the Krishna Circuit, Vision 2022, holistic development, and factoring Vision Kurukshetra, promotion of the Divya Kurukshetra mission. Under his leadership, the Gita Mahotsav since 2016 has grown from a very local fair to truly international event, attracting more than 42 lakh people during the 2019 edition in Kurukshetra, Haryana. तो मदन मोहन छाबड़ा जी, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत। और आपने कुरुक्षेत्र में इतने इनिशिएटिव लिए हैं, उसके बारे में आप प्लीज जो है आप लोगों से एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करें। आपका क्या आगे का विजन है, क्या किस प्रकार की और योजना है?
धन्यवाद विवेक जी, नमस्कार। कुरुक्षेत्र जैसे अगर मैं इसे बड़ा थोड़े ब्रीफ के अंदर ही बात करूंगा, जैसे अभी आपने कहा कि और पैनलिस्ट भी हैं और समय हमारे पास कम है, तो कुरुक्षेत्र को अगर हम बोलें कि गीता, महाभारत और कुरुक्षेत्र, ये तीन बड़े ब्रांड नेम, अगर हम टूरिज्म की भाषा में बात करें तो बहुत बड़े ब्रांड नेम हैं। इनके कारण से कुरुक्षेत्र पहचाना जाता है। लेकिन हमारी जो स्ट्रेंथ है, जो स्टोरी लाइन है हमारी, वो ब्रह्मा जी की सृष्टि की उत्तर वेदी के स्थान से शुरू होकर और उसके अंदर गीता का जन्म स्थान होना, गीता का भगवान के द्वारा गाया जाना, उसके साथ सूर्य ग्रहण का यहाँ पर महत्व होना, सूर्य ग्रहण के स्नान का। पूरे देश के अंदर एकमात्र जगह ऐसी है जहां पर सूर्य ग्रहण पर स्नान करने का महत्व है। उसके साथ ही सोमवती अमावस का मेला, बुद्ध स्तूप, इसके अलावा हर्षवर्धन की राजधानी का होना कुछ समय तक, सिंधु सरस्वती सभ्यता, सरस्वती रिवर के किनारे पर बसा हुआ ये शहर, और जितने सिख गुरु हैं लगभग सभी का यहाँ पर आना, ये सब चीजें इसे बड़ा ही स्ट्रॉन्ग जो है डेस्टिनेशन बनाती हैं। टूरिज्म की दृष्टि से कहें और कल्चरल टूरिज्म की दृष्टि से कहें तो मेरे ख्याल से वो ज्यादा ठीक है। और अगर हम आज के समय में बात करें तो बहुत बड़े चीजें हैं, जैसे गीता ज्ञान संस्थान, ये गीता का रिसर्च सेंटर यहाँ पर काम चल रहा है, उसका लगभग 30-40% वो कंप्लीट हो गया। इसके अलावा तिरुपति बालाजी मंदिर का यहाँ पर टीडीपी के द्वारा स्थापित होना, साथ में इस्कॉन एक बड़ा मंदिर, यहाँ बड़ा टेम्पल लेके आ रहा है, जो आज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट के अंदर अगर हम बात करें, जो कि कल्चरल टूरिज्म के सभी ये पॉइंट्स हैं। इसके साथ ही हमारे यहाँ पर अक्षरधाम भी एक अपना मंदिर जो है छोटे स्वरूप के अंदर, जैसे दिल्ली अक्षरधाम है उनका, उसको एक छोटे स्वरूप के अंदर यहाँ पर लेके आ रहा है। ये बेसिकली सब जो है स्थान, ये थीम पार्क टाइप डेवलपमेंट्स है इनके अंदर। और जो स्थान गीता का जो स्थान है, जहाँ गीता का उपदेश हुआ, उस स्थान ज्योति सर के ऊपर एक बड़ा थीम पार्क अंडर कृष्णा सर्किट जो है वो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट से हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट बना रही है, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के फंड से। और उसके अंदर हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट का बहुत बड़ा इनिशिएटिव है ज्योति सर को डेवलप करने का, जिसके अंदर इंटरप्रिटेशन सेंटर्स जो है कुछ हॉल्स बनाकर और वहां पर एक बड़ा थीम पार्क डेवलप करने की जो एक योजना है, जिसका की काम बड़े स्पीडली हम लोग कर रहे हैं वहां पर। और पिछले दिनों के अंदर ब्रह्म सरोवर को जो मोदी जी का SIP है, स्वच्छ आइकॉनिक प्लेस, उसके अंदर टॉप 30 के अंदर स्थान मिला। ब्रह्म सरोवर को एक पहचान बड़े अलग तरीके से मिले कि स्वच्छ आइकॉनिक प्लेसेस के नाते से। और अगर आप लोग उसे कभी गूगल पे सर्च करें, आप आए हो, तो वो बहुत ही एक सुंदर, एक 1.1 किलोमीटर बाय 500 मीटर्स का एक बड़ा सुंदर सरोवर है, जिसके किनारे पर हम अंतर्राष्ट्रीय गीता महोत्सव करते हैं, जिसके बारे में अभी विवेक जी ने बोला कि 18 दिन के अंदर 40 लाख से ज्यादा लोग उसके अंदर विजिट करते हैं। और ये फेयर एक बहुत बड़ा फेयर पिछले दिनों में बना है। हमारे जो मुख्यमंत्री जी ने पिछले 5-6 साल से, मनोहर लाल जी ने इसको खुद उनके विजन को इन्वॉल्व करके हम लोगों ने इसे बहुत बड़ा फेयर बनाया। और पिछले 6 साल से कुरुक्षेत्र के अंदर जो है एक बड़ी स्पीड से प्रोग्रेस होनी शुरू हुई है। जो कल्चरल एक जो स्पॉट जो है वो बना है, इसका जो प्रमोशन है उसे हमें बहुत बड़े लेवल पे करने की आवश्यकता है। जैसे मैंने कहा कि हमारे पास बहुत बड़ा ब्रांड इमेज है, ब्रांड्स है हमारे पास, वो कुरुक्षेत्र है, महाभारत है और गीता है। इसके अलावा बहुत सारी चीजें और है कि कुरुक्षेत्र में गीता और महाभारत इसलिए हुई क्योंकि कुरुक्षेत्र धर्म क्षेत्र था और उसकी बहुत बड़ी कहानी है, जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले बताया। और 48 कोस कुरुक्षेत्र जो कि पुराना ओल्ड कुरुक्षेत्र है, हिस्टोरिकल है, जिसके जो आज के 5 जिलों के अंदर वो आता है, जिसके अंदर करनाल, कुरुक्षेत्र, पानीपत, जींद और कैथल, ये 5 जिले आते हैं। अगर हम एक हेरिटेज कल्चरल जो है टूर बना लेते हैं, 48 कोस की एक परिक्रमा क्रिएट करते हैं, जिसके ऊपर बहुत बड़ा काम चल रहा है, तो 134 तीर्थ चिन्हित है जिनकी हिस्टोरिसिटी है, जिसके लेटेस्ट तीर्थ जो है वो महाभारत कालीन है, बाकी सब उससे पुराने माने जाते हैं। बहुत बड़ी हमारी जो है एक हेरिटेज है। गांव-गांव के अंदर तीर्थ है, जैसे ब्रिज की परिक्रमा है, जैसे अयोध्या की परिक्रमा है, उसी तरह कुरुक्षेत्र के 48 कोस की परिक्रमा। इन तीर्थों को डेवलप करके हम 5 जिलों तक पहुंच सकते हैं, जहां की हम बहुत बड़ा एक स्कोप है हमारे पास रेवेन्यू जनरेशन का, साथ में एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन का बहुत बड़ा सोर्स है। उसको करने के लिए जैसे अब पोस्ट कोविड सिचुएशन के अंदर जो बहुत बड़ी स्ट्रेंथ है, बहुत बड़े नाम हैं हमारे पास कल्चर सेंटर्स के, उनको जहां पर कम लोग आते हैं उसे अगर हम सेंट्रली प्रमोट करते हैं, जैसे कि हमारे जो अपना कल्चर सेक्रेटरी यहाँ पर थे, जो उनका विजन था, अगर हम उस एंगल से इसको सोचते हैं कि उन जगहों को हम प्रमोट करते हैं विद बिग ब्रांड नेम्स, तो हमें बड़ी जल्दी ही वहां पर टूरिस्ट हमारे पास बहुत बड़ी संख्या के अंदर आने शुरू होंगे। जैसे यहाँ पर अगर हम कहें कि म्यूजियम, पैनोरमा और इस तरह की धरोहर करके एक हरियाणा का जो म्यूजियम है, जो हरियाणा के कल्चर को डिपिक्ट करता है, ऐसी बहुत सारी चीजें हमारे पास ऑलरेडी है। अगर हम देखें तो 2 और 3 दिन का एक स्टे कुरुक्षेत्र के अंदर बहुत ही कंफर्टेबल तरीके से हम लोगों के पास है। पिछले दिनों में, पिछले 4 साल के अंदर हमने 4 स्टार प्रॉपर्टीज यहाँ पर क्रिएट हुई है यहाँ पर। और इसके अलावा जो अगर हम कहें कि श्रद्धा और जो भक्ति है यहाँ पर, वो गीता के कारण से, भगवान कृष्ण के कारण से बहुत बड़ी हमारी ताकत है उस कल्चरल टूरिज्म के लिए, जिसके लिए हमारा देश जाना जाता है। और जो हमारे 4 करोड़ से ज्यादा एम्प्लॉयमेंट है जिसका, उसमें बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा हमारा कल्चरल टूरिज्म से आता है। जो कि मेरा ऐसा समझना है कि जो हमें आने वाले समय में बड़े थीम पार्क्स कुरुक्षेत्र के अंदर, वो सब यहाँ पर अगर हम लोग क्रिएट करते हैं, बड़े म्यूजियम्स यहाँ हम क्रिएट करते हैं, तो ये म्यूजियम्स का हब हो सकता है, ये कल्चर का हब हो सकता है, सांस्कृतिक राजधानी जिसे हम कहते हैं, तो देश की एक सांस्कृतिक राजधानी ये बन सकता है। क्योंकि बहुत बड़ी ताकत गीता जो है वर्ल्ड वाइड एक जो है एक फिलोसफिकल गाइड जो है वो एक्सेप्टेबल है, तो उसके नाते से हम गीता के ऊपर बहुत सारे केंद्र यहाँ पर डेवलप कर सकते हैं। नेचुरोपैथी सेंटर्स यहाँ पे बहुत बड़े डेवलप कर सकते हैं, जो कि यहाँ पर कई सारे गुरुकुल और कुछ जो संस्थान है वो ऑलरेडी यहाँ पर 4-5 नेचुरोपैथी सेंटर्स चला रहे हैं, गीता ज्ञान संस्थान। तो ये बहुत बड़ी चीजें यहाँ पर है। मैं ज्यादा कुछ ना बोलते हुए सिर्फ एक स्ट्रेंथ मैंने आपको कुरुक्षेत्र की बताई, और कोविड के बाद अगर हम लोग चाहें तो हम इस स्ट्रेंथ को बड़ा करके, और एक कम पॉपुलर जगह होने के नाते बहुत बड़ा पोटेंशियल यहाँ पर है, ब्रांड हमारा बहुत मजबूत है। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
मदन मोहन जी, जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। और क्योंकि समय की बड़ी कमी है, और बस मैं इतना कहूंगा कि कुरुक्षेत्र से मेरा जुड़ाव इस तरह से है कि अपने फॉरेस्ट सर्विस की ट्रेनिंग के बाद जो मैं सबसे पहले हरियाणा में जो कदम रखा, देहरादून के बाद मेरी पहली पोस्टिंग कुरुक्षेत्र में हुई थी उस समय ट्रेनिंग में।
नहीं, आप
इन
सब लोग
शब्दों के
दोबारा
साथ बहुत बहुत आपका धन्यवाद
जी। थैंक यू वेरी मच। आप सब आए दोबारा।
Thank you. We are running short of time now. We have a very important panelist, and Dr. Sonali Ghosh, and she will be speaking about the challenges post COVID for the culture and natural heritage, especially in the South Asia region. And let me just briefly introduce about the Sonali Ghosh. She is an Indian Forest Service officer with more than 20 years of work experience. She has worked as a field manager in UNESCO designated World Natural Heritage sites in Kaziranga and Manas, master's degree in wildlife science, PhD degree in physical geography from UK, served as a founding faculty at the Category 2 Center on the World Natural Heritage Management and Training for Asia and the Pacific Region Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun, where she co-edited 2 books also, Cultural Landscapes of Asia and Wild Treasures, Reflections on Natural Heritage in Asia, and Anthology. And she is currently serving as the Deputy Inspector General of Forest, Central Zoo Authority. Over to Sonali, please.
Yes, good afternoon. I think, sorry, I was muted, and I would request Anchal to straight away come to the presentation and share the screen from her side. I'm sure the expert panelists have spoken already. Dr. Dhananjai Mohan sir, my former teacher, guru, and the current director of WII and the Category 2 Center, has spoken well about the aspect of the capacity building and training of the center. And as part of that, we did a lot of work, especially with natural heritage in the Asia Pacific region. So I will move straight to the presentation and perhaps present an idea which is currently very, very popular and ongoing on the UNESCO website. I looked at it in the morning, and they have a campaign which is called The Next Normal. So essentially, it's a campaign, and it's not about the new normal, but the next normal is what the UNESCO is proposing. And perhaps it's in many ways, it's also to do with this whole aspect of culture and the nature and the spirit of resilience of people against pandemic. Next slide, please. So as already mentioned by Dhananjai sir, I would not really dwell upon this, but you see the gamut of protected areas, the gamut of sites which are inscribed on the World Heritage List, and India is a proud owner, or has the proud recipient of 7 natural sites and 1 mixed category site, and we are the second in the Asia region to go forward with the heritage inscription. Next, please. And regarding the next slide, please. Regarding the coronavirus pandemic, I'm sure enough has been spoken, and we are aware that it is a zoonotic disease, which as per the WHO definition is any disease or infection that is naturally transmissible from vertebrate animals to humans. So COVID-19 or corona makes up for 60% of the emerging infectious diseases in the world, and is expected to disproportionately affect poor communities in tropical countries. So essentially, South Asia becomes one of the hotspots in terms of the vulnerability to such kind of zoonotic diseases. And many of our iconic species, which are now confined to protected areas, including natural World Heritage sites, are also susceptible to disease outbreaks, as they either serve as reservoirs or intermediate hosts of these complex, ever mutating microorganisms. From this map, which is currently live on the UNESCO website, you can see that of all the heritage sites, at least 121 countries have closed their sites currently as we speak, and at least there are a few countries which are gradually opening up because of this entire aspect of the pandemic. And many governments have, of course, taken measures, including India, and I look after zoos in the country, and slowly and cautiously, with all precautions, there are zoos as tourism centers being opened up in some of these states. And in many countries, the heritage sites have been opened up, as in Greece and in many countries in Europe and so on. But having said that, in India and in particular in South Asia, natural heritage sites are closed, and monitoring activities by site managements have continued, including anti-poaching surveillance, monitoring by satellite images, drones, and emergency interventions, for example, in case of fires and floods. As we speak, there is this entire machinery of the Kaziranga World Heritage Site, which is gearing up for preparing for the floods in Brahmaputra, and there is a lot of massive rescue and wildlife rehabilitation operations which are going on in that difficult condition. Next, please. So what is the impact on the natural heritage? It is, of course, well established that human-induced environment changes have been the primary factor for today's particular pandemic scene, and this includes deforestation, habitat fragmentation, and the increased contact between humans and other animals, potentially increasing the chance of zoonosis. There has been a recent Traffic India analysis which was released on 3rd of June this year, which found a significant increase in reported poaching of wild animals in India during the COVID-19 lockdown period, and which is not restricted to any geographical region or state or to any specific wildlife area. And reports of poaching for consumption and local trade more than doubled up during this lockdown, although there has been no evidence of stockpiling of wildlife. So similarly, the crossover of COVID-19 to captive animals, especially tigers in Bronx Zoo or the minks in Europe and many other places, have given us a major scare in terms of the new ways of the spread of the disease, and there is a need to be cautious and study this more. Next slide, please. And this is my last slide. So what can be done? And I strongly feel that protected areas, especially national parks, sanctuaries, natural heritage sites, which also are iconic locations, they must be preserved and must be part of the global strategy to reduce or prevent future disease episodes. So in a way, they are all this part of the yin and yang, where they are also susceptible to being vulnerable to disease, but at the same time, they also make ourselves more resilient and thereby supporting sustainability in livelihood, in tourism, which is essentially needs to be nature-based tourism. And there is this new line of thought, which is the ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction, for which the natural heritage sites can play a major role. And finally, and not last but the least, but this One Health approach, which looks at all these aspects between wild and captive and our humans, is something where natural areas and species can play a very important role. And this is what, for me, is the next normal. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sonali, and certainly with your wide experience and also the insight which you have given at the global level. And these are the learnings we need to integrate in our future actions. And now we are already running short of time. We have one of the most experienced Forest Service officer panelist, Mr. Avni Verma, sir. And welcome, sir. And sorry, sir, you had to wait a lot. But the thing is, after listening to everyone, the issue is when we are talking about how to ensure the sustainability of the tourism, how to ensure the address the carrying capacity issue. So there is certainly a need when we talk of next normal or new normal to also evolve a certification standard. So before talking about that, let me give a brief introduction, sir, about you. Mr. Avni Kumar Verma is a former Principal Chief Conservator of Forest and Head of the Forest Force of the State of Karnataka, MD of Jungle Lodges and Resorts, so vast experience in all these tourism-related issues. He has been a founder and CEO of the Lake Development Authority of Karnataka, has more than 45 years of professional experience in forest and wildlife management, in nature conservation and ecotourism. Presently actively associated as a founder member and co-chairman of Network for Certification and Conservation of Forests, a non-profit organization which is working very rigorously into developing a various type of certification standard chain of custody. He was also co-author of the publication of the principles and guidelines for preparation of working plans in Karnataka. And with these words, I welcome Avni Verma sir once again and request to share that what is the need for the developing of certification standards, especially for the tourism. And we are talking about for this cultural and natural heritage sites also. Sir, floor is yours.
Thank you, Shri Saxena. And I thank you to give me opportunity to share my thoughts on the subject given to me. Friends, when we talk of heritage tourism, it includes whole spectrum, right from cultural to archaeological sites to nature. These things have been explained by previous speakers, whether it is Ajanta, Ellora, or Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, or Himalayas or Sundarbans. These are getting more and more tourist footfalls. They are heritage places, and therefore they are being popularized thanks to Government of India's push to visit these sites. We have 29 World Heritage Sites in cultural category and 7 in natural category, totaling around 37. That puts us at 6th position in the World Heritage category. Additionally, we have another 42 sites in the tentative World Heritage list. So all these are bound to bring more and more tourists to above places, as the visitors want to experience these sites firsthand. In fact, tourism growth worldwide was 6% in 2019 and was expected to grow by 4%, during current year. In 2017 alone, more than 10 million foreigners visited India, bringing India to 40th position in the competitiveness rank. So these situations, whether in post-pandemic conditions would remain or otherwise, but yet we hope that when things become normal, tourism sector would be the first to, take up the new challenges and would bounce back very quickly. Now, what are the impacts of such a large-scale tourism? We know the impacts this tourism can cause on environment and local communities, both positive and negative. And therefore, it is important to ensure sustainability of the tourism at these destinations. In fact, the sustainability of the destination themselves are the key point. We have seen how unbridled and uncontrolled tourism has taken a toll on the natural capital resources of various destinations, be it Rome or Shimla. That the nature and heritage destination world over were under severe pressure of unsustainability came out very clearly during the ongoing lockdown stage, with increased sighting of wildlife in and around PAs, appearance of blue water everywhere, increased laying and hatching of turtle eggs, and so many other stories. Now, this is the key for sustainable tourism in the post-pandemic normal. That is how to retain this natural revival which has taken place as a byproduct of this unfortunate development. While the contribution of such tourism to GDP and employment generation is well recognized, concerns have been raised about responsible tourism aspect also. And that is where the role of certification standards comes into play, for basically they deal with sustainable and responsible tourism. United Nations World Tourism Organization has defined sustainable tourism as the one that takes full account of its current and future economic, social, and environmental impacts, addressing needs of visitors, industry, environment, and host communities. Now, development of sustainable tourism would need following requirements. That is, the tourist resorts, natural, historical, cultural, and others, they are preserved in such a way that allows them to be used in the future also, while benefiting today's society. The planning and management of tourist developments are conducted in a way that avoids triggering serious ecological or socio-cultural problem in the region concerned. The overall quality of environment in the tourist region is preserved and, if necessary, improved. The level of tourist satisfaction should be maintained to ensure that destinations continue to be attractive and retain their commercial potential. And finally, tourism should largely benefit all members of society. Now, we must remember that sustainable tourism and hence certification standards are also part of UN Agenda 21 and UNDP goals. So based on above, many standards for sustainable tourism have been formulated world over. Certification is a popular subject in tourism and sustainability. Some in the industry say it does not address the critical mass, while others say it is the only way to stop greenwashing. In late 2008, the Global Partnership for Sustainable Tourism criteria was formed. In 2009, a global body, Global Sustainable Tourism Council, was formed with sustainability criteria, having sets for different categories, like for one for destination managers and public policy makers, and the other for hotels and tour operators, etc. Likewise, in India, we have got sustainable tourism criteria, which has been developed on the initiative of Ministry of Tourism with participation of all stakeholders. STCIE follows the guideline of GSTC. What are these standards? Basically, they are guiding principles and minimum criteria that any tourism business or destination should aspire to reach in order to protect and sustain world's natural and cultural resources, while ensuring tourism meets its potential as a tool for conservation and poverty alleviation. Therefore, certification can be described as the process of assuring industry and consumers that the assessed destination and companies have met a set of minimum standards. The purpose of certification has been to achieve voluntary standards which meet or exceed baseline standards or legislation. Certification in tourism has always been a tumultuous affair, and there is a continuous debate, especially as less than 1% of tourism industry suppliers are certified. Although there are many certification systems in the world, I don't want to go into the detail, but ISO also has got standards for quality as well as environmental conservation through their ISOs 9001, 14001, and newly formed ISO 2600. Apart from this, every country almost in the world has got their own standards and certification system, wherein they are assessing whether the three pillars of sustainability, that is environmental friendliness, social needs, and economic viability, are met or not. It would be worth mentioning that the initiative taken in India is also very much now on. NCCF, as Saxena Sahab has just told, is a body. It's an independent non-government organization which is developing a set of standards in the field of sustainable management of natural resources, and it is in the process of setting standards for nature destination management, particularly in and around protected areas. Well, couple of other important things in these standards would be of legal compliance and business ethics, management plan, implementation, monitoring, updating, sustainable utilization of natural resources, knowledge, communication, and interpretation for these destinations. So, in conclusion, friends, I would like to submit that there is an increasing demand, particularly from the travelers and the service providers and destination management entities, to have true green travel and not the greenwashing. That is where the need for above standards and the certification system has come to be recognized world over. Such certification standards give the customer a well-informed choice to visit true eco-practice destinations, besides pushing the management to achieve minimum level of sustainability, economic viability, and social needs and commitments. So the role of certification standards cannot be overemphasized in cultural and heritage tourism aspects. Thank you once again for having me. I hope I have given the required background to this whole question, and I'm very thankful to IUCN to concentrate on this particular aspect, which is still in the nascent stage in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And sir, your vast experience and insight, and certainly the need for ensure sustainability of the tourism, and that can be successful only if we have sustainability, or you can say certification standard. And NCCF as an organization is pursuing these initiatives for sustainability and certification standards. And in the new normals or next normal, when we have opening up of the tourism activities, the natural side, the cultural side, rich heritage, this is the time when we can have a introspection about that, what type of the tourism we want. We have to develop such type of a certification standards. We have to regulate tourism in such a manner so that the livelihoods are also sustainable. At the same time, the tourism also remains sustainable, and at the same time, we are able to preserve and conserve our natural and cultural sites. And yes, sir. And today, sir, we have a very, very good panelist, and we had a very long discussion. So I am, on behalf of IUCN, I am thankful to everyone. We had Secretary Culture, Government of India, Mr. Anand Kumar, then Director of the Wildlife Institute of India, Dr. Dhananjai Mohan, sir, and we had Swami Gyananandji, Mr. Chavda for Kurukshetra Development Board, Ms. Sonali Ghosh from Central Zoo Authority, Mr. Steve Porgia, Arushi Nishank, she is herself is quite passionate in steering all those things. And I think I have Mr. Manu Bhatnagar from INTACH. We have a very, very strong panel, and discussion was really interesting, and I think we could touch each and every aspect. So the subject is so wide, the more you talk, it is less. But certainly, I think whatever we have talked, if we summarize it properly and take it forward in a true spirit, I think that can be the real challenge. And with these words, we have a couple of questions also, but in the interest of the time, we will be sharing, sir, your suggestions, so that if you can respond to that. And with these words, on behalf of IUCN, I am thankful to everyone. And this was the last in the series of our 6 episodes, in which we organized on various thematic areas, ranging from the coastal areas and mountain tourism and adventure tourism in the desert areas, national parks, sanctuaries, and today it was the rich natural and cultural heritage site. So we try to cover all different aspects. So I am once again, on behalf of IUCN, thankful to everyone, and also entire IUCN India team who have worked at the back of the stage rigorously in connecting all the people, organizing this webinar, solving the connectivity issues, especially from my team, Achal, Vishnu, Piyush, and all other team members, Dr. Archana, Dr. Ishwar. They all have worked on the back stage to connect all these good panelists and making this webinar series successful. And we will be sharing the key suggestions and the findings of this webinar series on the tourism-related challenges post-COVID, various thematic areas. And thank you everyone once again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.